Before we get into this, no one should know this much. The video title is Understanding of Reality. It's not there for the fun of it. What I suggest is that you study my other videos to gauge my intelligence before you stick your mind through a blender. This is part 3 of a series which will set humanity up for a future amongst the stars. There is a lot of assumed knowledge that goes into this. Parts 1 and 2 must be looked over and understood. I'm doing this so that nobody else ever has to. That's half the point of doing this in the first place. The other half is because I want the best for humanity, and this understanding is required so that the maximum amount of people can contribute in the most meaningful sense. For the people who have had the life beaten out of them, I'm hoping your struggle can be simplified within reality to a choice made by others which you can then choose to make otherwise within yourself. We comprehend reality so that we can use the simplicity both to minimize the effects of the suffering we have experienced by seeing reality through the clearer lens of the human experience, and, on the other side of that, an appreciation of the gift that was given as we have been created in order to live our own lives with our own choices. It's not meaningless despite me being able to simplify it for you. Before we get into this, it's important to understand that everything I've learned points to a loving father and mother who really try their best to give us what we want, regardless of what that is. The issue isn't our Father being all-knowing and all-seeing. It's our self-determination. It's not wanting to take our choices away. People always point to, if there's a God, then why do children get cancer? The truth is, by the time we discover what cancer is, we should be well on our way to figuring out how to manage and deal with it properly. But we are not allowed to do that. And it's not our Father's fault. Because we have Him to help. You can ask. We have brilliant minds, and it's ultimately meant to be their meaning to solve this for others. But then, humanity's stewards have made it their meaning to prevent humanity from being able to do that to the best of their ability. I think we can all agree on this. So as a father, what do you do? Your children want to decide for themselves. Do you take away the meaning of any of your children? We define ourselves by pushing against each other. The struggles bestowed upon us by humanity's stewards define us as well. You're picking and choosing what meaning you want people to have if you take any of it away. And it's tragic to see it like this. Imagine being our Father, watching it all happen, and not reaching in because you want everyone to have their own meaning. I mean, let that sink in. You give creation to billions, and people purposely harm each other, even after you give this design the potential to become a place where everyone can simultaneously be as fulfilled as they could possibly be, all at the same time. And, despite everlasting happiness being achievable without taking that same feeling away from others, you still have to watch people harm each other in order to occupy a never-ending void. I couldn't watch. Could you? And I don't think it's down to allowing evil to exist or not. It's down to wanting your creation to choose for themselves. And with the amount of beauty in this world, I don't think He's indifferent. How can you create this if you don't truly care? And all the beautiful things we make, someone had to think of them first. But all the harm. The design speaks for itself, and it says to choose good, because that's what means the most to everyone, including yourself. Evil is our privilege. Do you want to understand reality? If you're not smart, I've got you. Just try your best to pay attention and maybe try hard to learn something new, and I'll get you there. This is for you. I have to leave a bit out, but you won't be missing anything. So let's start by simplifying things. Now, I don't know if you've suffered badly or what you've suffered, but putting human input to the side for just a second. Let's start by excluding the human side of things and just talking about this design, reality. This design is beautiful. What you are basically a part of is a battle of good versus evil. Ideally, we are meant to push against evil and choose good. This is in all areas. When you're having evil thoughts, you have a chance to not give that evil to others or bring it into the world. If it's in the world, then we suffer. But we can all stop it from getting that far. Evil is only there for you to choose good. And this goes as far as you can imagine. Think in terms of demons, the devil. I'm sorry to bring that up, but hear me out. None of them truly want to be evil. They do enjoy it, but they are taking one for the team. They exist to balance out good. They have to exist. If they don't exist, then the rest of our lives are not as meaningful. It's this fight against evil which brings you towards a more meaningful life. There is a reason you came here, and that reason, if you manage to find it, and by the way, it's very hard to find, so don't fly blind. Ask our Father to help you find that reason. I get that you may be atheist or agnostic. That's fine. We're not including people yet. You're the only person. It's just you and this design. That reason has to be hard to find and achieve, because once you achieve it, you have this feeling of peace and happiness that seems to be eternal. So if you find it easily, then what's the point in the rest of your life, right? But why is there a reason that you're meant to find? We have to stretch far here. Hopefully you've heard of a term called spirits. Not the poison. Some sort of being that you may have heard, but probably never believed in. And of course many people would not believe, because they don't have a solid body like you and me. It's very hard to understand how to see them, but they are very much real. The lack of a body allows them to exist beyond what we can understand. This body we have ties us to this universe. We are stuck in here. They are not. They can go outside of our big universe. What happens when they do that? What do they do outside of our universe? We may never know. Because when you go outside of the universe, if you can manage to do that, it's pretty far. There is, like, a boundary that we can't get past at the edge of the universe. Time. Outside of the universe, time doesn't exist. What you need to know is that everything you understand involves time. And when you take time away, we can't understand anything. So, there's a part of spirits that we can never understand. They are beyond us. They sometimes reach in to hang out if you know how to interact with them. These are beings like angels and demons, gods and goddesses, lords, archdemons, all very real. I've met many of them. I studied them so that I can pass things on to you. That was the whole point of studying them. It's all for you. Maybe religious people are upset. I believe we have a Father above all, and that He loves us all equally. I've never been able to narrow down His existence in a way I can definitively determine. In saying that, I could never not believe in our Father. I understand so much. If I could ask one thing from you, please believe in our Father and work alongside Him. Let's go back to spirits. Spirits are the reason you and I exist. They want to achieve that feeling we mentioned, of this everlasting peace and happiness. The problem is that, as spirits, they understand too much. What that means is that this feeling is not earned. It's not the same as if a human starts with no knowledge of anything, guided by heart and will, and hopefully having the wisdom and courage to ask our Father for help often. If that human manages to find and achieve that reason that they were specifically chosen to live, then that's an achievement worth holding on to forever. Because you were specifically chosen by someone to exist, same as me. Some spirits saw your life path and basically said, wow, I'd love to try to find that reason. And they did the same for me. They saw that life path and said, wow, I'd love to try to achieve that reason. That would make me so eternally happy and peaceful. And so, they come here as us. You're meant to know this. This should have been known to us. There is a specific reason you and I are chosen to exist, and finding that reason is the whole point of why we exist. And here's where we get tragic. You follow your heart to find that reason. That is a saying, to follow your heart. But it's not simple. It's not just any heart. You have to have a pure heart. Your heart has to be free of sin. You have to not be greedy, envious, lustful, prideful, wrath, which is anger, sloth, which is laziness, gluttonous. If you manage that, then the heart will pull you towards the reason that you came here. And you can ask our Father too, because you might get stuck. You have to have someone in case you get stuck. This whole design in our current state is about choosing good in order to earn your most meaningful life by discovering the reason you were chosen to exist. And you can only earn that reason by choosing good. Isn't that exactly the type of world you would want to be a part of? You never have to be evil, which means that your best life does not have to harm anyone or take that away from anyone. Of course, we are not perfect, so you might be greedy or angry. Just ask our Father to help you. Things happen. But that greed or anger hurts you no matter what you gain from it. You get further away from the reason that you came here. That's perfectly fair. Now that you understand how this design is meant to work, how can you be an atheist? This is exactly what I would create for you. And if you're not a bad person, I'd hope you would create this for me. So, what happened? We get to choose. That's what happened. And we did. We chose everything. Religions, technology. This world is a gift given to us. The design offers us every opportunity to define ourselves. And we did. How can you have a pure heart in a world like this? How can you not be greedy? How many people do you think find that reason spirits were so amazed that they just had to try to achieve that feeling by becoming them specifically? Because many successful people are on their deathbed just thinking, something's missing. There would have been many today. All their houses and all their cars. Right at the end, there's a feeling that they missed something. That reason. You can still have an amazing life without having any clue about why you're here. And you can amass great wealth. And good on you if you are a person that has done that fairly in a place where everyone has had the same opportunities as you. But it's not the most meaningful to you, and it will never be, unless that reason is found and achieved. And I'd like to remind you, that reason involves having a pure heart. You never needed to harm anyone. Our Father gave us a beautiful design. And lots of people die with a regret that they can't even understand, because there are people in this world that choose for you to suffer. And our Father chooses for us all to have a chance to exist in the way that we want. Beautiful and tragic. This is our reality. Obviously, the main reason I'm telling you this is for you personally. It's going to help if you understand things. But there's one other problem. Let's look at humanity's progress as a series of jumps. As our technology gets better, we can make bigger jumps into the future. The key part to take in is that we can't change direction in the air. The things that ultimately direct each jump are things like the balance of our lives, the intricate nature of how we interact with each other, the kindness, the love. That's what directs each jump. Give you one example. A Soviet submarine in the Cold War. 3 commanding officers. 2 of them wanted to launch a nuke. Only the 3rd officer, a single man, decided against it. And we're still alive today. Who made that man a cup of tea that day? Must have been a good one. Whatever his upbringing and his values, maybe his friends, it saved our lives. We rely on each other in ways that aren't even clear to the people that run the world. As our technology increases, we make bigger jumps into the future, and where we land is based on where we jumped from. If they are going to destroy our values, then we are going to jump into a pit of lava and they won't see it until it's too late. We will be in mid-air by the time they see it and they won't be able to change direction. That's a big part of why I do what I do. To stop us all from getting killed. Even them. If enough of us fall, we all fall. That's the part the world leaders can't accept. And you'll have to remind them if you want your grandkids to have a good future. One last thing. I doubt I'm the first to understand what this life's all about and what is supposed to happen. So it doesn't look good for me. As dramatic as this sounds, I might have to leave the rest to you. As funny as this sounds, I'm pretty sure this video will end up getting my house raided by cops. Eventually, I'll be spied on for this one. The feds will come and make the cops' raid look like a gentle breeze. This world is in the hands of evil people. Though I've summarized a lot, we have to get very technical. The simplifications are over. And if you understand what's been said so far, then you understand reality. At least, the most important aspects. Congratulations. It's not easy. We begin with a beautiful story of our reality. We'll get technical later. I hope I can do it justice. It begins with our father. After everything's been concluded, and he's danced with our mother every dance that's ever been danced, every dinner they've ever had together, there's nothing they haven't done together. Evil is irrelevant at this time. They wanted to be together in every way possible. They wanted to do everything together. Everything you can possibly imagine. Our reality is a story of love. Because now our mother and our father have done everything together. And they want the same for us. They want us to be able to do everything together. Except evil is not irrelevant. It's what you save each other from. Like beautiful heroes, you get to protect the people beside you from evil. You get to stand against the great villain of good and save the day. And you get to experience love when you do it. Love for yourself and for others. So let's make it happen, they say. I can't think of anything better. And so, reality begins from the start, and they watch together. In every way you can possibly imagine, they wait for us to choose good, and they try to help where they can, without taking our choices away. Because ultimately, they want us to choose good, but more than that, they want us to choose. It's not their choice. And so they say, we can't protect you from each other. We won't come between your love for one another. We made you a creation so that you could love each other or not. So please love each other. You can pick any life you wish, but the consequence is that you must leave what you know at the door and try to rediscover what it means to love each other, what it means to be with each other. You can't just know everything because that's our burden to bear for you. We know what you can choose so that we can help you choose. And, trust me when I say this, it's only beneficial to know everything if you've already accomplished everything yourself. So leave your knowledge at the door, and I will instill in you a beautiful feeling of love. And as you come of age, I promise this feeling will be known to you. You will feel love in your heart. If some of you fall to the others, this is my tragedy. I can't save you from each other because then I can't watch you find love for each other in your own way. But I will always be in pain if you choose not to love each other. Because this creation was for you to find love. Love for yourself and love for others. And I want you to choose good over evil. And if you ever struggle with this, we are both there. It's never going to be perfect until you are at peace with yourself, which will come at old age regardless of what you have achieved. I will make sure you are at peace in the end. Don't be afraid of dying. This fear does define you when you are alive, but at the moments before your death, you will feel like you are coming home. It's okay. You can always reach in again as someone different. But who you were, I swear, is unique to you. This is one chance to achieve a oneness with each other through love. Ultimately, love will guide this feeling and this destination for you and for others. You are meant to love each other. Evil is there to make this process incredibly difficult, and nothing more. Good luck, son and daughter. We will be there for you if you ask. And so begins our lives together. Gods, goddesses, all the way through to the plants and the animals. So begins our story of love as we want to write it. The creation itself is the language within which our Father speaks. He's already thought of everything ahead of time. The Mother Goddess is the one who provides for all of physical creation and all of its forms. This would essentially mean the planets and the stars. Like a baby within our mother's womb, our mother provides for the building blocks. Our Father is the one who made creation give life. Don't make it weird. He did this by bringing in beings which would be happy to exist and seed life within. This is the magical beginning. Universal laws at this time had just begun. Reality had just started to exist with time. There were beings known as gods and goddesses who seeded creation with physical life. They were more than happy to do this. Guided by archangels, the beings who they seeded would eventually seed human life with the help of the archangels and gods and goddesses. Gods and goddesses would ultimately become physical so that physical life could exist. The first race of life within the universe was gods and goddesses. This is the beginning and the end, because when it ends, they will still remain, and then they will have seen all, and then they will understand our Father's will. This basic premise of creation repeats each and every time a mother and a father come together to create a child. It's the exact same process, guided by love instead of non-physical beings. But that's the answer to the question why that some people ask. Why did I do this? That question why begins with wanting to experience something together with someone. That's why we did it. I'd wager that's why our Father did it. When you take away time, we all chose together every single moment. Despite our simplicity, we all chose together. Hopefully that provides you with some comfort. We can always choose differently, and we are not by ourselves in this choice. That's the beautiful story of our reality. A conquest of love and discovery. The fact that there are atheists in this world demonstrates that nobody should rate their intelligence very highly at all. We have no idea what we are doing here, and that's our fault for not pressing for the right answers and listening to the answers that were given. Now we get technical. What is a thought? A thought is a universe of idea and a universe of creation. Each thought represents its own universe. Our thoughts aren't as vivid as our Father's. Our ideas don't encompass the whole entirety of a universe. What is a universe? A universe is a piece of creation not unlike our universe. It's just that the definition is tentative. Within an atom is a universe. An atom contains quarks, bosons, electrons or hadrons, depends if they can hold an electromagnetic charge or not. An atom could be seen as, depending on your definition, very much alive, and hence, a universe is a tentative definition which revolves around the perception of life. So it's hard to say that a universe is one thing or another. What exactly is life? Is the universe itself alive? Certainly, the measurement theory would postulate that something is dead until we see it. Does this therefore mean that we are alive and everything else is dead until we see it? Of course not. It's all relative to perception. The perception of a brain is associated with life. That is fair. However, not everything living has a brain. You lived before your human life. We will discuss this later on. How do we know our Father did something which resulted in us? Through creation itself, the language within which you speak, the words you use which allow you to express yourself. You're creating thoughts every single time you talk. There's also your mother who gave birth to you, the mother that provides you sustenance at birth. It's the most obvious answer, that creation has a mother and a father just like you do. Do we exist within our Father's mind? Yes, as thoughts. The language within which you speak is the proof. You communicate with words derived from thought. Thought is the basis of existence in all things. Even as thought, we exist. Even through thoughts, you can speak. The universe begins with an idea, just like your universe begins with your ideas. Your mind begins perception of the universe, which leads to thought, which leads to you being able to give yourself more ideas. In the instance of our reality, our Father, having experienced everything, just wanted to experience everything again. But in this instance, the key is to experience everything with everyone. The universe is a reflection of that. What is reality? Reality is completely subjective. No two people are the same. If you want the best broad definition, here it is. Reality is your experience of the world and its circumstances. Reality can be defined in this way through our perception. We are experiencing the world. So then, to understand reality, we need to discuss why things are the way that they are on a fundamental level. What are we? Why are we? Who made us? Why were we made? Where are we going? What is the nature of this world? What are the fundamental rules of this world? If we answer these questions well, we understand reality. What are we? We are thoughts within our Father's mind, and that goes for every single piece of creation. We have discussed proof. It's very obvious, and this tends to be the way with our minds, to completely skip over the most obvious answer. Why are we? For a spirit to experience an eternal oneness with itself, we are required. Gotta start from zero. Hence our simplicity. Who made us? This is hard to prove because we cannot meet our Father. I postulate that creation is an ever-repeating Mandelbrot set where the patterns in nature repeat to demonstrate the concept of this design. Why were we made? There is a difference in experiencing an eternal oneness and just living your life. We are made to live our lives as we choose. We are self-determining. The proof is in risking your life. You were given life by what came before, and your consciousness sacrifices a lot for you to exist. Of course, the ultimate goal is this eternal oneness. However, you don't have to achieve that, and many people don't. You were made to live your life as you choose, for better or worse. And it's a hope that we don't wander around aimlessly and needlessly hurting each other. This just ruins it for all of us. There is genuine love behind the decision to facilitate your existence because the design itself is absolutely beautiful. Some would say, perfect. Where are we going? Nowhere. You and I only get this. I'm sorry. I can come up with no less than 3 good reasons for why this is the case. Our simplicity, our brain, our perception of non-physical phenomena. There's an upper limit to intelligence within the physical realm. It's what turns 10 meaningful pursuits into 100 meaningful pursuits. It's what makes life so meaningful. Then there's our brain. Despite part of our existence being non-physical in nature, all information is relayed back to the brain. Everything you understand is due to the brain processing things. Our physical form ties us to this universe, and that means our brain ties us mainly to this specific timeline. These limitations are what make us who we are as humans. Finally, our perception of non-physical phenomena. Bear with me. I used psychedelics in my younger years. Don't worry. It's been years since, and they were a tool for me to try to think outside of the box. During this time, I had almost no idea of anything. It's in looking back years later with what I know now that I can understand more of what was going on. If you want to prove that there is no afterlife, psychedelics would be one way, probably the main way at the moment. So if you're against that, nothing I can do. Obviously, psychedelics cause visual and auditory hallucinations. If you prove externality and are able to perceive non-physical beings without psychedelics and know exactly the beings you're interacting with, then psychedelics will make them more easily perceivable. Psychedelics affect the perception of non-physical phenomena whether you're hallucinating or not, and this is a key part to an understanding that there is no afterlife for us. Through interactions with non-physical phenomena that you come to understand, you learn that all those hallucinations are extra information that your brain can't understand. It's not nothing. It's not just a random assortment of nothingness. It's stuff. It exists. Your brain just has no idea what it is, and the best it can do is give you colors and shapes and things like that. But it tries. Like when you're about to die, it tries to search your memories for a way out. It tries and it tries. Well, if you give your brain psychedelics, it tries to search reality for answers. It's getting more information passed through it to sift through. Interaction with non-physical beings, and the fact they become clearer, gives you the evidence that hallucinations are extra information that your brain can't understand, because those beings, instead of being colors and shapes, are actually trying to represent themselves to you in a way that your brain can understand. You can only exist here, and everything else values the preciousness of a single chance to live each moment, because it's not a single chance for them. It's a choice to get one run through. In order to value this existence, don't waste your time as much as you can. Realize that you get one shot, and that's what's beautiful. You get one shot. It's absolutely precious. What can you achieve with only one chance to live each moment? How will you be remembered? Will you plant trees within creation so that our Father can see that a piece of you remains? Will you raise a beautiful family that upholds the values you've taught them forevermore? What will you do with your one chance? Despite our vast simplicity, everyone absolutely adores the preciousness of sentient physical life. You'll find that our Father reaches so far in order to help you, and great care is taken to ensure that you can choose for yourself. Everything has been thought of, every possible decision and variable. Though you and I exist within thought, the design is virtually limitless and beckoning you to discover it. We should be multiplanetary by now. What is the nature of this world? The nature of this world combines many principles. Oxygen within your lungs to sustain life, at least in an aerobic atmosphere, demonstrates your connection to the earth. The sentient physical existence, although it is clearly separate from the earth, is still invariably connected. In this sense, you are the earth, you're just free to move around a bit more. So the earth must be looked after because it is us. We only have one source of consciousness, and we are on the back foot until we can find somewhere else to settle. If that place among the stars can provide sustenance, then we have gained a consciousness. Two minds are better than one. On to the nature of this world. We are to be one with each other. We are all born of the same earth. We are all from the same stuff. Physical differences only serve to uphold the illusion of free will. I am different from others, therefore I must be self-determining. Of course, you are self-determining, which we will discuss later. However, the initial physical differences provide a guidance that respects the nature of this world. It defines you as separate from the earth and from others around you. So the first principle is self-determination. The second principle focuses on our simplicity. There is a hard limit to our perception. What this means is, we can only know so much, and so much cannot be known. It is for this reason that you must choose wisely with your time. Our simplicity and our perception guide our decision-making. This is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, very intelligent people see a hard limit to the decisions that we can make, and they actually use this perceivable limit to say that we have no free will. This is usually due to a series of questions why. Ultimately, that question does have no answer apart from the fact that we all chose to be at the same unit of time before time actually began. I digress. When you cannot ask why to a degree that causes you to question the legitimacy of your own determination, you can begin to focus on the world around you and find meaning in many things. The limits to which you find entertainment are set by your simplicity and perception. That's the other side of this equation. The third principle is time. We will break down time later. Time makes choice. Along with your simplicity, perception, your oneness with the earth, each consciousness has a time limit. That's the nature of this world. What are the fundamental rules of this world? We will discuss this in great length. A summary here. This world is a battle of good versus evil. Each decision can be simplified in this way. Every single one. This is due to three main principles: time, love, care. Do you care about the time that you have? If so, no decision is meaningless. If you don't care about the time that you have, then you are ignorant to the time that you have left. This is evil. Do you love others? Do you understand the meaning of love? This is to show kindness in the moment. Love exists moment to moment. It, of course, has an underlying feeling. However, it is an emotional response requiring thought. Love is intentional. Each decision has the potential to reflect love in your heart, for yourself or for others. Do you love yourself enough to train today? Do you love yourself enough to better yourself? Do you care about the consciousness within which you came? And where do you draw the line? Yourself, the earth, the universe. Time, love, and care set the fundamental rules of this world, and it can be simplified as a battle of good versus evil. As stated, reality begins with our Father. Somewhere along the way, when every experience was lived, we came about. First there was spirits, and then there was experiences relating to our universe. Nikola Tesla conveyed this as 3, 6, and 9. What he meant was, the 3 relates to us, specifically how we physically exist. The 6 relates to the life path, and the 9 relates to the spirits and our mother and our father. I'd like to expand upon this. Basically, we have no way to determine 9 from 3 because 9 is far beyond anything we could ever possibly perceive. The 6 is greater than our perception as well. But from the perspective of the 9, it all makes perfect sense. This is the perspective of the spirits and our Father. Our Father is the only one that knows everything they can know as well. This cannot be proven very easily. What I will say is that the longer you interact with spirits, the more apparent this will become. Back to Nikola Tesla's analogy. It becomes the key to the universe because they understand us perfectly, unless they choose not to. We previously associated evil with ignorance. Evil remains a choice, even for spirits. Beings of the highest good understand us perfectly on all levels. Our mother provides the building blocks of reality. Spirits are the building blocks of reality. Our Father looks after them to make sure that no harm can come to them. The problem is that we can't see past our own experiences. Spirits are firmly outside of anything we could ever experience organically. When they come to us, They present themselves based on our experiences. First circle, our perception, is everything we have perceived. Second circle, the life path, is everything we as individuals could ever possibly perceive. Third circle, only understood using data that we understand. For example, the work on associations has already been done by other people, which is great. You know who you are. Thank you for everything. I would like to credit you directly, but if this video does well, much of the attention will be unwanted. I hope you understand. I wanted to add something to associations, but I'm sure a few of you already know. Angels and demons are kind of universal and reach in across the universe, and so every form of physical life can come to know them. However, all other spirits, restricted to a singular location within the same timeline, reach in through a certain physical space. For example, Cleopatra Jinn is associated with the Milky Way galaxy, so, with the skills, a physical being within the Milky Way galaxy can potentially meet them. If we were to meet a non-physical being that is associated with a star system that is not the Milky Way galaxy, then that implies that a sentient physical being, not unlike us, from that star system, has come to Earth to be among our human race. This is a can of worms I won't open here. However, an Alya is associated with the Sagittarius Dwarf Irregular Galaxy. They are beyond us. They use stuff here so that we can understand them. In other words, they reach in for us. Putting it all together, we exist because spirits want to exist in this world. This is easy to determine. What do you want to do with your life? That is not entirely your decision. You are the result of your circumstances and your choices. In order to understand why your circumstances are your own, it's important to acknowledge how much of a say you had in the beginning of your own life. And, if not you, who had that choice to begin with? Because someone chose to be you, and then it chose to exist. You are the compilation of a series of choices. Most of these choices are not your own. This is tragic to acknowledge in this world because of the suffering you have endured at the hands of others, unless you have been born into very fortunate circumstances. Suffering is a part of life, but atheism ultimately exists because of unnecessary suffering and unwelcome suffering. To understand spirits, you have to understand that time has no meaning to them. Some of them will choose to exist for shorter times and some longer. They are very true to their form because we are defined based on their preferences. You and I exist because they choose specific things. These specific things vary between races and beings. If I tell you the truth, it may hurt. I know that conveying the truth is going to hurt me. What you and I are is a compilation of spirits. This isn't a bad thing. This is just what we are. Before we exist, they choose what they want to do, and basically, we are the life path that results from their choices. Their coming together is the first choice. Which spirits will come together to form our consciousness? Spirits exist because our Father chose to birth them into existence. We exist as a transaction that involves the illusion of individual being. More importantly, the transaction gives us freedom. They have to come together or we don't exist. They know everything about each other, but this knowledge is sacrificed when they enter this world. This world exists for them, and the result is us. I hope this doesn't hurt too much. We're not meaningless. We're special because nobody knows what we are except our Father. Nobody knows the life path except Him. Specifically, time only affects us in the same way that it affects the world. Our simplicity means that we do not know that we are not real. We do not matter. This is just an experience. Outside of this world is another and another. A spirit world, where many spirits come to join another. And the world of the archangels and our Father. This is why the archangels speak for our Father. There has to be another link, because an all-knowing Creator decides every single action in advance. Our suffering is determined. He is there to help us through. No matter what, He chose in advance, and He can always choose differently. Beyond the physical laws of the universe, He is there. And you can tell, once a group of spirits has come together in a specific way, that life path has been lived, and in each universe, it's never to exist again. We are unique. Only through us can the pursuit of everlasting peace and happiness become a meaningful pursuit worthy of lasting the entirety of our spiritual existence. Why become a dog? Because what preceded the dog has found that feeling of everlasting peace and happiness and just wants you to find the same thing and is happy to become anything for you. Once we achieve that feeling through a physical form like a human, we are happy to become the birds and the plants and everything else, so that others can push against us to find the same feeling we've achieved. Obviously they don't know that, so don't go kissing crocodiles and thanking them. But the initial choice for a spirit to become a crocodile or a dog or an ant is for you, because time ends here. We will discuss time later. To a spirit looking in from beyond time, this pursuit of everlasting peace and happiness is always happening. It's already happened, and it's about to happen. For us, it's one shot, and that's it. That's the illusion of free will. It's just based upon time. Before time, before us, before you and me, we all chose to try to achieve this at the same time. Hand in hand, we said, let's have a go at life together. We are all quite literally here for each other. Doesn't matter what you are. You came here to be with others, and if you're a human, you came here to earn that feeling of eternal oneness. How do you achieve it? By battling against evil in all forms. The difference between, say, a human and a demon is that a human doesn't actually have to be evil at all, whereas a demon is inherently evil. Also, Earth doesn't have to harbor any evil. It doesn't have to exist beyond the level of thought. It just has to exist within thought for us to push against in order to define ourselves. That's the basis of our reality and how to achieve your most meaningful life. Have a pure heart free from sin. Fight against evil and don't bring it into the world. Ask our Father for guidance and help with any and all of that. If you want to get hands-on with intelligences beyond your own, understand one thing. Evil beings have a job to do. Be evil. They are taking one for the team, and none of them are subjected to existing eternally as they are. Beings like gods and goddesses and archangels have no counterbalance in terms of time. No being wants to be evil forever. I would say this to Satanists and people who worship demonic beings. I studied them to learn evil. I can tell you that they don't truly want to be evil. They have a job to do, and there's a difference. Their job is to balance out good, and nobody wants to be stuck doing it. I suggest you make inquiries, because you'll find disappointment if you look carefully and pay attention. For everyone else, ask our Father to help you because creation is for you. What you understand as consciousness is a group of spirits working together like a cognitive machine. The proof of this is in how you act. If you take the time to meditate, you can observe the influences which come from each spirit. Anyone can do this by being really cautious and actually trying to find these spirits within yourself. Any conscious effort will be enough. It feels like different states of being. There's a slight shift in your outward perspective. Try to start with the keywords good, bad, and evil, with an understanding that your consciousness is comprised of one of each. Be careful with trying to know this, because it hurts to know that there are little pieces that make you who you are. Free will isn't possible. You are the result of what came before, along with the actions which decide your life. What came before is the result of how the spirits have previously lived. Where you are free to choose is that the spirits come together to form you, and they do not all agree on everything. Their hesitation is your expression of will. It will hurt so much to give you examples, but the world is going to need evidence. Realize that your body functions upon its own commands until there is a disaster. A disaster would be any action which facilitates harm. At that point, in a critical moment, the soul chooses its own words. These are the experiences that define your entire meaning. Let me be clear. While this seems too far-fetched, what I'm actually saying is that if you are in control of your own will, your decisions involve the choice between life and death. The ultimate decision which is yours and yours alone. It is the fear of death which facilitates your entire meaning. Each decision you make, the risk of death is yours to bear. By risking death, you are choosing your own fate. The spirits which comprise your consciousness would never risk anything which involves death. This is because all they want is to live at any cost. There is preferences between them, but the goal is for them to live no matter what, at any cost. While it's not possible for will to be free, it's possible for you to risk your own life in order to decide your own fate. There is no free will. There is hesitation regarding risking your own life. Conducting any action which could possibly end in you dying is risking your life. This range is virtually as broad as decision-making itself. That's basically it. We really just need to expand upon what we have. String theorists are likely going to be unsatisfied by what's been said. I'd like to give string theorists something to study and then move on to everyone else, because your field hasn't advanced for 40 odd years. String theory is absolutely paramount, but you're stuck. Forgive me, I don't have a degree. Maths is the language of reality. I need you to study antimatter. Start by assuming it doesn't exist and using Einstein's theory of special relativity, which omits the existence of antimatter. From there, basically assume antimatter is quantum physics. More specifically, assume antimatter has no stable state and therefore exists everywhere and nowhere. This understanding is useless unless you're a string theory physicist at the top of your field. Basically, you need to know string theory and you need to be able to relate interdimensional portals to an extra-dimensional being. Assume that each dimension is unique and not able to be controlled. Suspend the physical dimensions in a magnetic field and use this field to detect antimatter. That's how you start finding antimatter. Pass this to Michio Kaku or someone similar. Now, we can talk about time in peace. Everything past this line is basically infinity. When we talk about things like the soul as being the most meaningful life path, we're only talking about the part of the soul that's relative to us. But here's the kicker. Beyond this line, there are no parts. There is no time as it is organically expressed. Can we prove this? Very hard, not impossible. String theory maths will be able to prove it now. Dimensions with no time and no space. Here's how I learned where time ends. I started with dreams, specifically how words and numbers were always shifting. It's like my brain didn't understand what it was looking at. I would look at a number and watch it change and basically be illegible. Same with words. But then there would be occasions where words and numbers were specifically represented to me in dreams and they wouldn't jumble up at all. The question is why? One theory I have is that there is no time unit organic to dreams, which basically means the dream itself is infinity until it's crafted for me in a specific way. More specifically, the dream is here, where nothing makes sense until it is specifically represented to me in a way that I can understand. So basically, the exception to this was when non-physical beings I knew were specifically putting numbers and words within dreams to tell me something. Those words and numbers would be completely stationary. So it's possible for them to apply something to words and numbers in dreams to make them stationary. Otherwise, it's just every single number basically. A small shred of evidence. But basically, what we're referring to is their ability to choose to apply time to this space here in order to make it relevant to us. In a single timeline, this basically means pinning something to a specific place so that we can understand it. The reason those numbers are jumbling usually is because it represents no time, and our perspective is a perception involving time. So it looks like every single number to them, but to us, we are trying to apply time. So it's almost like a single number, but cycling through them. You can study this in dreams. Don't be a fool with non-physical intelligences. You only get one mind, and one form of sanity. They would also appear in dreams as someone or something I've seen in my life. It was never new data apart from minor variations like streaks in the hair. Also, the time seemed to be irrelevant. They may appear as anyone I've ever met in my life, regardless of when I actually met the being. It just didn't seem to matter at all how many times I've seen the person that they appeared as. I was definitely aware that I was dreaming in those times, so don't worry. When I would try to recall past lives, and you'll understand why this is possible later on, but that data of past lives is represented to me in ways which I'm familiar. For example, a part of my consciousness could have been part of another physical form on a distant planet among the cosmos a long time ago. But that data is represented to me in the most relative way possible. So, when I'm recalling this information, I'm looking at humans because that's all I've ever known. They might have had spaceships as transportation, but all my brain can give me is cars to represent this. Obviously very hard for you to put any faith in this knowledge. I can say I got lucky. I had known an angel for years that never disclosed that they were part of a consciousness which once shared a life with a part of my current consciousness. I just inquired about the possibility one day, and yeah, there was one. But for an angel, lying to a human is like lying to a tree. It's pointless due to our simplicity, and they also fall. So I did get lucky and could immediately build upon what I was experiencing. And the beings would also pick the closest variation if they wanted to represent this to you themselves. So quite literally everything we ever do is stored beyond us and accessible to those beings in varying amounts depending on their perception. And we can even access data from previous consciousnesses that is relevant to our current consciousness. And time doesn't seem to affect this at all. Time only affects the actual representation of that data, like a filter that gets it from here to here. Moving on to other personal experiences. University Introductory Maths. I had left a final exam until 2 days before. With this subject, you could hand in assignments early, so I did all except one, and so I hadn't touched this subject for months. It was like Chinese to me 2 days out. I was going to defer it and do it next semester. I had other subjects that were fine. What happened was, I picked up on guidance regarding what to study and when. They really do not ever try to directly involve themselves in decision making unless they are evil, which means they try to take everything from you, especially your decisions, which are all we really possess. I knew exactly who was providing this guidance, and they were definitely not evil. I had understood their guidance for years preceding this and had never been let down, so I just had to try to pull this off. For science. Now, I have to emphasize the task I had left myself. Intelligence was largely irrelevant. What I needed was preparation bordering on psychic premonitions. I needed to know what the exam was ahead of time, basically. Anything short, and I'm done. Because what I didn't know is the last assignment involved calculus, differentiation, displacement, and at that time I hadn't touched those topics in my life. So I'd have to learn that for the first time, rehash index laws, algebra, both at university levels, so not a joke at all, and a bunch of other subjects, all in 2 days. Well, my preparation was basically perfect. It's like the being knew what was coming. I passed the exam easily, and I sat there scratching my head wondering what the point was. Like, what's the point in me? In us? I worked hard for those 2 days, make no mistake, but my preparation was exactly what it needed to be in the exact order it needed to be in. I am smart, but it wouldn't have been enough without help. Fast forward a year later, and I'm in like an Arabian supermarket. It's got all sorts of things. I have no idea what's going on. I can't even read most of it. Food from multiple Middle Eastern countries. I just want sauce because I'm getting nuggets from KFC. Aussie food is usually below par. I know you guys from the desert lands have the source of my dreams hidden in here somewhere, so I thought I'd ask for guidance. So I did. But this was really stupid, because it was guidance to pick a sauce. I really wanted good sauce though. I had 30 KFC nuggets to eat. Well, I did pick up on guidance in order to pick a sauce. It was a being that is dark, or bad, or worse. Same thing. A duality like you and I. Not quite good, not quite evil, somewhere in between. The guidance for maths and the guidance for picking a sauce would only happen once for me. The same being that helped me study actually helped me pick a sauce. Well, the sauce they guided me to pick was like liquid gold. Of all the 200 something sauces, mostly in different languages I can't even read, this one was like I made it for myself in another life and said, if we ever come back here, I hope you find it again. Boy, did I find it again. You get the point, hopefully. And that's when I scratched my head again. Exam preparation was perfect. The sauce is perfect for me. What's going on here? And that's when it clicked. That time is just irrelevant to their decision making. Time is only relevant to us. Everything about their existence is a choice. I would later observe that demons could become angels temporarily, vice versa. They want to be what they originally are, and that's why it's temporary. But they can choose differently at any time. They can choose to be good, choose not to be ignorant. An angel can choose to fall, and they can choose to get back up. I've seen it all. And so, time ends here. Because every single thing we could possibly share is a choice to them, including time. They can choose time. It's why they can make numbers in dreams stationary. It's why their decision making is almost perfect unless they decide for it not to be. It's why they are thousands of steps ahead potentially. Time is irrelevant to them unless they want to hang out with us, unless they want to reach in for us. And this is why they stick to inspiring dreams, influencing your life in ways that aren't directly determinable. Every decision they make is a decision they take. They know exactly what to do almost every single time. Outside of time, they're all connected. They're only separate here. So they can always be outside of time and understand everything, then come in and forget all but what they need to tell you. From our perspective, the only thing that can escape this boundary and bring evidence back is string theory maths. The best we can do is numbers. Otherwise, everything we understand from there has to be represented with data here. String theory maths can basically study the relationship between this and this. There may be other fields in the future. This is our fishbowl, called space-time. Time is our limit. When I figured out where time ended through interactions with non-physical beings, I could tell that they were upset that I had learned about it in this way. Now we can break down time. Choice is the ability to choose, and choosing is the decision-making of a sentient form. What needs to be understood is that choice is what we have. That's what we own. Time is a boundary. Choice is not. Ultimately, we can make choices which slow the boundary down, but it's coming, and it's going to surround us sooner or later. Ultimately, time makes choice. It makes more sense to say that the fourth dimension is choice, because for spirits, time is the initial factor for their existence to us. Without time, we can't perceive their existence. Their true existence lies beyond time, and without time, they don't exist to us. It's a choice for them to even meet us. So all we can do is split the fourth dimension, which we perceive as time, into two dimensions. I posit that the fourth dimension, relative to us, is choice. Because we can't choose time, but they can. It makes more sense to put choice as the fourth dimension. We can prove that the fifth dimension is time, because it's their choice. They are five-dimensional to us. Maths can determine extra dimensions, but relative to our perception, all we get is 4, potentially 5. Maths is the language of reality, but those other dimensions cannot be perceived by us, and numbers are a rough translation. It's hard to even prove 5. You really have to compare the intelligence of non-physical beings to your own and work back from there. I understand people will be upset and don't want to accept this from a layman. This is for humanity. I'm sorry to upset people with what I know. I want to break down the different non-physical beings that basically shape our reality. We'll start big and work our way down. We quickly reach a limit here. When we talk about beings like gods, goddesses, archangels, the most we can say is that it was chosen for them to exist outside of time, because they are eternal. Whatever stuff beyond time that has something to do with gods and goddesses, it's presumably much greater than the stuff that exists within time related to them. Even saying the word greater doesn't work when referring to something beyond time, but I hope you understand the concept. Nothing beyond time makes sense at all. With dreams, it's just the fact that part of you is here, trying to pass information back to your brain here, and your brain has to try to make the best of it. It's not nothing, but when you see numbers or words jumble in dreams, that's your brain trying to make the best of it, but it's beyond us. However, and we'll touch on this right at the end, the parts of you that are somewhere here can actually pass some useful information back at times, even when you're conscious. Think in terms of aura reading, things like that. Oh yeah, a part of what you are exists here, beyond time. But everything has to be passed back to the brain. Anyways, starting with our Father. First of all, scientists will never believe that creation has a creator because they can't prove it. This understanding comes from science. But, in actual fact, the creator is the one who inspires a desire to find out the truth. If you could meet our Father, where else would you go to find out the truth? I personally can't find a way to eliminate all variables. I've come close, down to 2 variables. Either an action was him, or it was because of him. So, belief in him is a choice. I will say this: there is a respect among all non-physical intelligences for the gift of being able to exist. Put simply, the perspective they share is that we all exist and it's beautiful. And that's down to our Father for giving us this design to find ourselves within. The smartest beings, even gods and goddesses, can clearly see that our Father speaks through us when we ask for guidance, but they cannot determine how. It's like, for example, another dimension that superimposes itself on every instance of reality, every single infinitely divisible piece. And there's our Father. And we are all trying to figure out his will. Regarding our Father, the proof for humans is your heart. If you want to believe, then you do believe. If you don't want to believe, then you don't. If you don't want to believe in your parents, then your parents must do their best to get out of your way. But if you take the time with your own heart, you'll know that you have a Father above all. It doesn't matter what you want to believe or what you want to prove. Take time out of your life with your heart and your own mind. There's nothing about the cosmos that isn't for physical beings. Not a single aspect is unsolvable, all the way until we solve everything and start again. Our Mother. Sort of self-explanatory. You can't meet her either. It would be kind of strange, given the circumstances. Like your mum, the mother we share provides for the building blocks for all forms of sentient life, physical and non-physical. There's a multitude of steps between her and us, but in terms of the design, she is very much alive, just far beyond what we can perceive. Our mother's will, in this sense, is to be the beauty of creation, the parts of creation that want to be seen. Women in general have an eye for beauty that men cannot match. Try the universe on for size. A woman might make the home. Our mother makes the universe. The things that were already there and already beautiful are her making. As for the things that are not beautiful, you cannot have sunshine without rain. This is the nature of the duality of our existence. Not something to be sneered at. More so, something for us to contribute to in order to add to the beauty that already exists so that we can feel like we did a lot as well. Hopefully that's satisfying for you. Nobody really addresses our mother, the Mother Goddess, the birther of creation itself. We have a mother and a father. A mother's will is quite obvious at times. A lot of thought went into this design. You can also reach her by making the world around you beautiful. This is exactly what she wants for us to do. It's important to note that when you consider our technological advancements, the Mother Goddess has the will to beautify things, which is expressed in women all around the world. Like I said, the basis of this design repeats over and over, all the way back to the beginning, to our mother and father. We each share a portion of their will, and we each don't understand each other because of this. Before we go into archangels, our father and our mother both have immediate aspects, direct connections to the rest of reality. For the Mother Goddess, there's two aspects that represent her or speak for her to the rest of creation. For our Father, there's the archangels, both managed by our Father. Our Mother is present in the building of them. So, on the one hand, you have our Father's will, and our Mother whom they are made from. The beauty of sentient creation is that each living existence is quite literally our Mother and Father being together. Our Father's will and our Mother as the building blocks. Our Mother's desire to be beautiful and our Father's desire to create. Idolatry is not wasted on this. It's our gift to be able to reach any and all of them, but it's up to you to do that. Archangels. Archangels exist outside of time. It's chosen for them to exist outside of time, but they have an extra responsibility. Hold the fabric of reality together for everyone else. We can only understand a fraction of what this actually entails. From our perspective, it can be explained as making sure good is good, evil is evil, and bad is bad, each to their own. Once a being has chosen to exist as they are, the archangels keep them as they are over threat of harm in ways which a human cannot possibly comprehend. It's important to understand that our Father keeps them in line in the same way that they keep others in line. The best way to think about archangels is to think in terms of our Father's hands and feet. It's understood that Archangel Michael is our Father's right hand. This term is quite literal because every perceivable action from our Father comes through the archangels. The problem with meeting them is that we only have so much time, and you'll really struggle to find a way for them to justify meeting you for even a millisecond of your own life, regardless of the medium. But it's possible. I promise. If that's your goal, it's achievable for anyone. We move on to gods and goddesses. There are two exceptions to the following information. The duality of the Mother Goddess is obviously two goddesses, and they rank the same as the archangels. Archangels are very, very strict, and the duality of the Mother Goddess aims to be less strict while still having a similar perspective to the archangels. We will discuss the duality of the Mother Goddess near the end. Gods and goddesses in their non-physical state can exist in multiple timelines at the same time, and they can also exist anywhere at the same time within a timeline, any physical space. They address a major flaw of this design. At one point in our time, there are no spirits to maintain any part of creation by being eternally unchanging. That only happens after that feeling has been achieved through a physical form. This is where gods and goddesses come in. Gods and goddesses are the first existences of entities, and they maintain creation as the spirits around you until there are others who assume this mantle. Basically, at one point in our creation, when we are all entities searching for everlasting peace and happiness through a physical form, there are eternally gods and goddesses. You may refer to them as the goddesses of wind, fertility, wisdom, etc. At one stage in our time, those goddesses and gods were the only beings capable of maintaining reality with our Father's help. Basically, Until there is enough spirits, like you and me, that have found everlasting peace and happiness, so that we are happy with becoming the birds and the trees and all of the flora and fauna that you see around you, only gods and goddesses are able to do this. They are eternal for this reason. Lords, for example, Lord Indra, the King of Heaven. Like gods and goddesses, they can exist in multiple timelines at the same time, and they can exist anywhere at the same time within a timeline. However, they choose only to exist for a certain amount of time within each timeline. So for Lord Indra, he will exist for a couple 100,000 years, and then another lord will take his place, but he will be invariably the same to us because we're simple. But he's actually, with reference to each timeline, living and dying, so he cares deeply while he's here. That they would choose to exist now and not later means that they care so much about us. There are so many lords worth reaching out to. They will go above and beyond for you, and you are both on limited time, which means that the time constraint requirement for them to occupy your time is relaxed, as they are spending their time as well. Suggest to start with lords before you try to meet gods, goddesses, archangels. Suggest specifically Lord Indra, the King of Heaven. Can't speak highly enough of Lord Indra. If you mess with demons, if you want to stand against evil, he can help. There's a reason he is understood to be the King of Heaven, the king of the most ideal world for all. It's his struggle to set the benchmark of good through strength and courage, closely related to Zeus. Archdemons, same as lords. I'd like to add a note. They are on the same level as lords. All of those very evil beings will only exist for a set time, and then there will be a new being that assumes the same name. They have to be evil, and nobody wants to be evil forever, but they enjoy it, so they're assholes. Don't reach out to archdemons is my advice. Our reality requires a counterbalance, and they are disappointed when you reach them. There's a reason they don't exist forever. Spirits. Spirits have no location freedom, and can only exist in a singular location per timeline. Even if they do exist in multiple timelines, they are only aware of one. That's the difference between all other beings discussed and spirits or entities. The difference between spirits and entities is spirits have achieved a feeling of eternal happiness and peace through a successful physical form in achieving the pursuit of the reason to which that form was chosen to exist. I hope this is clear. They choose you for a reason, and it's a good reason. There's no harm involved in forcing you to exist. This section wasn't necessary as it's fairly easy to learn about spirits if that's your goal. I'm putting it in to clarify things and to be more concise. Even though they can all step outside of time theoretically, the difference is that spirits and entities see who you are in that moment exactly, and all the decisions that led to you, and a varying amount of decisions which will come after your current point in time. This allows them to figure things out. Obviously, good beings see everything and evil beings see only evil variations of these points in time. Beings who are a duality cover varying amounts of the spectrum of good and evil, but never the entirety of either. I would add a note that while they are aware that they can ask our Father for guidance, they prefer to go their own way in order to decide for themselves as much as possible. Furthermore, given that evil beings only have access to evil variations of your thoughts and memories, you can determine what the design itself defines as evil based on the memories that they bring to the surface. Now, I have to make some illustrations, and I'm terrible at them, but it will be enough to convey an understanding. For example, here's me. A spirit or entity is viewing me in a very raw way. Thoughts, emotions, memories, it's all laid out. This is my possible decisions from this point. Do I blink now? Do I turn off the camera and go to sleep? Do I make a cup of tea? Etc. On and on it goes. Due to our simplicity and their potentially vast intelligence, you can quickly see how they can piece your future together with relative certainty, and how easy it would be for them to take your decisions away. Now, with archangels, gods, goddesses, lords, they're seeing every single version of you all at once. It's not a point of decision making. It's a point of existing at certain points in time. Then there's our Father. Really, the only perceivable difference from this point would be to assume that he knows exactly what you are going to choose every single time. Whereas archangels, gods, goddesses, lords can basically make the most accurate, educated guesses possible. There's still a relative amount of uncertainty for archangels, gods, goddesses, and lords, but not within a single lifetime. You'd have to span billions of simultaneous lifetimes to find something that they don't know. Good spirits and entities can make accurate, educated guesses potentially months or years in advance. You can kind of see how our intelligence is basically irrelevant, and how there is no afterlife for someone like us. I'm sorry. It's not meaningless at all. Our life is beautiful. We're just very simple so that we can enjoy things a whole lot more. The life path of spiritual beings is similar to humans. Something within their life path will involve time if they choose for it to be so. They can choose time. It's not a given. Imagine how many spirits don't end up with time. Well, none, because they're not separate unless they choose to be. Individuality starts within space-time, and beyond space-time, they can only exist as one, because choice doesn't exist without space-time. Good, bad, and evil are the lenses of the Mother Goddess which we can perceive. The second circle is the Mother Goddess. They are made of good, worse, or evil before anything else, and then the rest of their associations are based upon that. That's for spirits or entities limited to a singular location per timeline. For gods and goddesses, we don't know. We can see the lenses with spirits or entities through interactions with them, but gods and goddesses are just beyond any of the lenses, even archdemons. The lenses are as far as we can get to the Mother Goddess. It seems crude, but that's the nature of our reality. We can get much further with our Father's will, and we're going to do that now. Deep down within us is our Father's will. The archangels are the ones who are being walked through this for the rest of us. These circles are to represent the archangels. While we may ask for guidance, the archangels are constantly being guided, and that's the difference between them and us at face value. The first circle represents our Father's will for the archangels specifically. It's different for the rest of us. The second circle is to represent the archangels being part of the Mother Goddess, the building blocks of all of sentient creation. I've drawn circles, but if I could draw well, I would put the big circle as our archangels, and they hold on to the little circle, which is our Father. The big circle is bigger because they surround our Father, holding on to him and translating his will to the rest of us. But I can't draw, so you can just imagine what I'm saying. So, while they are made from our mother, our Father holds their hand very literally so that they can uphold his will and guide the rest of us. So the circles are symbolic of them holding his hand. Technically, the two aspects of the Mother Goddess are being walked through this for the rest of us by her. Aside from that, it's up to us what we do. Back to our Father's will. What do we truly want without the poison of the world's vices gripping us? That's the part of our Father that's within all of us. That's also the part nobody knows about us until we discover it together. More specifically, what do you and I truly want when we are not poisoned by sin? What they can see is our potential in great detail, and potentially even every variation we could possibly live out if they're a god or goddess or even certain angels. This is why it helps to ask for their guidance. How they see us is unimaginably detailed for a human being. However, they do not see what we truly want deep down until we discover it together. This is the key point. Our Father's will is unknown to them. They live our lives to discover his will, which helps them understand more about reality. Each life reveals another piece potentially, because you have to clear your heart of sin and then try to find that reason, which is our Father's will. Hopefully that makes sense to you. What we truly want, deep down, involves no sin, and was given to us by our Father. And if we not only discover that reason, but achieve it as well, eternal peace and happiness for the rest of our existence, either here or here. I have to say, tragically, everything required for you to be your best self is given to you at birth. I'm sorry. Archangels are on the line between everything else and our Father. The first circle is basically the archangels. Everything from our Father comes through them. What I mean is, nobody knows what our Father truly wants unless it comes through another being, and it usually begins with the archangels. And we try to discover what his will is because what we truly want deep down is also his will. That's what was given to us, guided by the heart. The miracle of prayer is that somehow our Father speaks through us without anyone being able to pick up on it. Even with a human's simplicity, they can see something is helping us, beings much smarter than us, yet they have no idea how this happens. Nobody knows the will of our Father beyond fragments. Those fragments are us, and we observe each other, and beings like archangels have a peace that's beyond gods and goddesses. It's like our Father's arms and legs. But when you pray, you're speaking to His mind, and His mind speaks back to you directly, as we are all thoughts. Not in words does He speak, strictly actions. Tying it all together, our Father's will is that reason we were chosen to exist, and all beings who understand this are trying to learn our Father's will. That's uncovered through us. This is why space-time creation is for us. If we aren't in a position to discover the specific reason we as individuals were chosen to exist, then they don't discover our Father's will. To non-physical beings, the lives of physical beings create sort of a beautiful image that tells them what our Father truly wants. It's intricately detailed, based on which plants are where, which humans reach their potential, which flowers blossom. It creates an image that explains to them our Father's will as much as they can understand it. So to us, it's everything. To them, it's like a beautiful picture on the wall which includes all of us, and it's ever changing. Not like a movie, but like a picture, because the picture always has a happy ending and the movie might not. Because we've already reached the end, and we are just here enjoying the journey with each other. And that's the point. However, there are differences between the lenses, different interpretations of the beautiful picture. Good beings seek to understand our Father's will overall. Bad beings are trying to understand what our Father wants us to choose. Evil beings are trying to understand our Father's will in relation to evil. They require us in order to understand Him. That's the trade-off, and that's why we exist. No knowledge, just a pipe dream and an ultimate goal. This is why our simplicity is such an advantage. We get to do whatever we want with our lives, and it doesn't truly matter. I'm trusting you with this. Our Father's will is the reason you were chosen to exist, and it's the same thing that you want deep down when you remove all sin from your heart and try to find your way, asking for help from our Father if you require. That reason is what heaven and earth moves to provide a path for you to achieve. Good, bad, and evil beings all want you to find that reason, but their approach is very different, and this is why evil beings are disappointed when you reach them. They have to make your life difficult because it's their job. They have to be remorseless. It does no good knowing this, because it doesn't stop them from trying to send you to the psych ward or take every decision you have and twist it. There is no physical barriers that can save you from demons. They are no mercy, no quarter. Your mind against a being that can understand your thoughts and plan accordingly. They have to make your life difficult, and you have to push against them, and it can get absolutely brutal. You're better off going another way. Finding and achieving the reason you were chosen to exist are not the same. Evil beings impede achievement, with the exception of love. Then you both impede each other, and will inevitably be torn apart due to the fact that they must take meaning in order to be what they are. Our Mother's will encapsulates this circle. As you can see, all the spirits are constructed here. The building blocks for space-time are constructed here. Spirits become everything around us that lives, and for the things that aren't living, they are our Mother as the building blocks. Physical laws are no object. This is where we came from. Our Mother desires to be what you are made from, and to be the beauty that you see around you. And this is not unlike your Mother. Outside of space-time, the best we can say is that there are other ways to discover our Father's will. That there is lots of stuff. That's it. I've mentioned our Father's will a lot. Our Father's will is the best thing for us to discover. It's essentially our best life. It's the same for all beings. Evil is there for us to push against. That's it. It's tragic. Taking one for the team. We all want to discover our Father's will because this will make us the happiest. For beings that are eternal, our Father's will, as part of their existence, is ever-changing. And there are many ways a being of the infinite, existing for infinite, is truly one with all of us. It's just far beyond us to understand our Father's brain. But I was always truly amazed by how much they cared, despite having potentially met 1,000,000 of me before having met me. As for our Father's brain, you're looking at it. The most we can ever know. This is as far as we get to the beginning of the reason why. Because as soon as we knew why, we understood everything we needed to know. And then we didn't want to know. And we ask our Father to guide our simplicity with greater meaning, as He exists to ensure that we all have meaning to find. So you have an understanding that these beings are so incredibly advanced compared to us. So, where does their interest truly lie with us? Apart from reaching in for us, there's something they don't know that changes everything about space-time. The heart. What you truly want when all the sins are removed. When you ask for something that's within your heart, it moves heaven closer to us. This is the variable that nothing can account for. Your heart, reaching for our Father's love, can change the state of existence itself. And so, despite their seemingly infinite nature, our Father still surprises them through us, if you're willing to follow your heart with a true understanding of how to do that. It's not the goal to blindly follow your heart. It's to do it with a map and a compass, such as this work can provide, so that you can surprise creation itself with a variable that this universe has yet to uncover. People will ask when they meet these beings and they're so smart, why don't they just solve our problems for us? Why do they stick to giving you dreams to interpret? Mysterious happenstances where you can't say for sure it was them? Things like that. The answer is, to them, you exist moment to moment, and if they provide direct guidance, they can kill who you were and completely replace who you become with a pool of thoughts based solely upon their guidance. You have to remember, how they see you is very raw. They see you as clearly as possible so that they can see who you can become. It's such a fragile thing, your freedom of expression, and the only way for them to really preserve it is to guide you in ways that aren't directly determinable. However, this doesn't make the guidance any less valuable. It just preserves your decision-making. Here is where we talk about consciousness. Due to reality being completely subjective, we have to expand upon this as much as possible. This is far beyond what anyone watching this will have ever tried to experience or understand, so just hang on for the ride. You can always come back and process things later on. Consciousness is you, your perception of reality. You don't have free will, but it's close to free will. What you truly are is a compilation of spirits. Spirits are really the building blocks of reality. We only understand a fraction of what spirits actually are. That's due to space-time. We are in sort of a fishbowl called space-time. We can't get out of it. Consciousness is made of three beings: good, bad, dark, worse, evil. What we are is completely the bad being with some of the good and evil mixed in. The good and evil beings exist beyond, but the bad being does not. Now, I haven't read the Quran. I have spoken to many Muslims. I admire your faith. I don't have time to ask, but I'm sure you guys would grant me the freedom to speak respectfully regarding something I've heard Muslims speak of. I think I can go into great detail regarding this. It's my recollection that Muslims speak of a good angel on one shoulder and a bad angel on the other shoulder, recording our misdeeds. Something to that degree. This is to do with our consciousness. Those beings do record our misdeeds. There's more than one reason. It's my current understanding that human consciousness involves, at the least, three bodies. This physical one and two non-physical ones. I only learned about the non-physical bodies when I was studying demons. I had no idea about them, and they were getting attacked, and my physical body was suffering, and so I had to defend them. I believe other spiritually inclined people refer to this as the spiritual and astral bodies respectively. You can actually operate them. You can move your perception between all three. Back to the consciousness. These bodies actually represent the three beings that comprise your consciousness. We are the bad being and very much physical. The non-physical ones are the evil and good being respectively. These beings do not just record our misdeeds. They are using human life to learn more about reality. The experiences we have are kept by them. They live lives to understand reality. Not just this. These beings on our shoulder influence our life. It's their job to make sure that we are punished and rewarded. So basically, if we are evil, then the evil being will influence our life more. And if we are good, the good being will influence our life more. They do this through things like luck and chance. These things we cannot understand, they have a good knowledge of. When they form a human consciousness, it's their job to influence our life as much as they possibly can. However, if we are evil, then they have to be shifted from both trying their hardest to influencing our life in varying amounts of influence from each. The bad being is completely us. It's completely within us, along with a fraction of the good and evil being. Basically, what you need to understand is that those beings work together. A human is always bad, which is not literally bad, it just means not good, not evil, but somewhere in between. However, based on luck, chance, your deeds or misdeeds, you can see how the mechanisms of your consciousness work. The good and evil beings on your shoulder pick and choose how they want to influence your life. It's a team effort. They need to push against each other to get you to where you need to go. They can only work together to make sure that you can get to your destination. If your life is completely good and the evil being does not participate in your conscious effort, then you will have no challenges and no real meaning. Good requires evil. The reason a human consciousness is one of each denomination is because each is capable of a certain amount of decision making. Even though a good being is capable of the whole spectrum of decisions between good and evil, what basically happens is they become evil if they don't choose good. The archangels see to that. So basically, they can't be evil, or the moment they do, they are no longer good. By combining the three together, good, worse, evil, you have a human consciousness capable of making any decision within the life path. I hope you ask our Father for guidance. Father implies mother. I hope you ask our mother as well. I hope that you acknowledge that our mother has always provided the sustenance to which you exist. The mother goddess has two aspects. The caring mother who you can hardly ever meet, she is known as Goddess Anatu. I don't think that name's been written. Let it be known. She exists eternally beyond our current point in time, and so you basically have to trip balls to meet her. Not that I've done this, but you just have to warp your perception of reality with DMT to the point where your mind doesn't even know what time is, and you can potentially meet Goddess Anatu. However, the other aspect of the Mother Goddess is the Stern Mother, who is known as Goddess Lilitu. I make this correction for all of us. Lilith also goes by the name Lilitu, and is actually Goddess Shakti from the Sanskrit. People came up with all sorts of rituals and associations for her, but she's extremely passionate about creation. And so for her, it was a choice between not acknowledging those attempts or acknowledging every single attempt so that she could be closer to creation, to us. So, people chose at random beings that they thought would be associated with her. But it could be any race she helps you meet. Truth be told, just try calling her Lilitu. You'll be off to a great start. She will help. If you're willing to try your best, then she is as well. She's part of the creation itself, which means that she can help you meet anyone not of this world. And she also cares deeply about creation. She is part of the duality of the Mother Goddess, the first goddess. She basically came to exist before the rest of the goddesses. She is one of the most powerful beings within reality. There are rules regarding the physical realm. You have to remember, the physical realm is all we get. Beyond your choices, they try to help. They try to inspire. If you are able to appreciate things of deeper meaning without losing your mind within signs, the way the world moves can be absolutely fascinating, humbling even. This next part, reaching out to non-physical beings without a conjurer. This method is only if you have no means to use a good conjurer. Using a good conjurer will save you from demons. Otherwise, lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram to call archangels to your side. Tell them to clear all forms of evil from your life path. Do this at least 3 times on 3 separate occasions. If you have dreams that reflect something being harmed, that's not a good sign. It would be extremely rare, but it would basically mean the archangels are trying to remove something from your life path that should not be there. This means either someone cursed your family, or you've been very naughty in a previous life and pissed off something enough to wait for you to come back to the land of the living, or at least a piece of you. Then, a polite letter addressed to Goddess Lilitu, specifying the exact type of being you want to reach and why. Do you want to meet an angel? If so, what race of angel? There is many. Be specific and do research. I suggest to make a cup of tea. This is for Goddess Lilitu. It's symbolic, but it's meaningful to her. Suggest to bring the tea outside to your favorite place beneath the stars. Read the letter out loud. Then, prepare yourself to meet that being. How do you prepare? That depends on the type of being. There's a whole new set of skills for you to develop. It can fail if it's not what you truly want in your heart, or if you're not willing to work on bridging the gap, or if your research is poor. It shouldn't be frightening or strange to do this. These are the beings that would ultimately choose to be us. This world we have made is far from what was intended. Remember that. Goddess Lilitu can see the things that you and I cannot, which is similar to our Father above all. The best method would be sigils, will and intent. Develop the skills to be your own conjurer. What we have done is positioned Goddess Lilitu to act as a conjurer on your behalf in this instance. Much safer, but still not without risk. There is still risk involved. A conjurer would be best. Being capable yourself would be second best. This is third best in terms of contacting other forms of intelligent life amongst reality itself. You can always talk to Goddess Lilitu and ask her to be a part of your life. However, she is eternal, which means it's harder to meet her because she needs justification to reach you, because that takes your time away from you. She is associated with every single being within creation and can help you meet absolutely any of them. Be respectful. With a being as highly ranked as Goddess Lilitu, they see every part of you. You have more weaknesses than you can imagine. Just don't be a smartass or extremely rude, and your weaknesses will remain unknown to you. The problem is that Goddess Lilitu can be justified in teaching you a harsh lesson through your own experiences, and she can clearly see that this will benefit you, but you won't like it. She's far too knowledgeable to ever risk being a smartass to. You may think, eternal, indifferent. No. She really cares deeply. After this is said, this method is only if you want to get hands-on with non-physical beings. Working hand in hand with our Father is best. He remains beyond our perception because this is what is best for us. Even the choice of whether or not to believe in Him is one extra choice you get to make. We've essentially reached the end. I want to teach you a skill, make a request, and draw a conclusion. I want to teach you a skill I believe to be important. This is for standing against evil. The mind itself can help. This skill will take time and practice. Visualize your heart and the 7 sins like this. It doesn't matter how vivid, as long as this is your intention. What I do is I understand the meaning of these, and I understand the constituents of my consciousness. With this knowledge that there are parts of me beyond influencing my life, I direct my mind to that understanding and try to pull feedback on each of the 7 sins and how they are influencing my life. Over time, the feedback becomes intuitively understood. It may not be vivid at all, but I understand when I go through the sins whether or not they're affecting me and how much they are affecting me. This may be represented by veins extending from the word towards my heart, or a bar that's partially or completely full, or the word itself may be dim, as if it's a light that's turned off, which would mean that sin is not currently poisoning my heart. In order to manage this problem, at first I would visualize a purifying light, understanding that this light I'm visualizing destroys evil. The light would go through my heart towards the sins, engulfing them. Maybe I would put effort into maintaining that for a little, and then checking for feedback to see if the sins are still influencing my heart, and repeating as necessary. Over time, it gets much easier. I can just visualize each word and try to obtain feedback by thinking about the sin and whether or not it's affecting me. It's the role of those beings that comprise your consciousness to help you in this regard with feedback. It will take time if you are new to visualizations to obtain feedback, so keep practicing because this skill can help you a lot if used correctly. For me, I can now visualize the word, for example, lust if I feel a pull. Then I visualize a crystal ball and tie it to the word lust so that I have an understanding that the word and the crystal ball are the same thing. And then I shatter the crystal ball and the feeling immediately subsides. So I can keep track of which sin is affecting me and stay on top of them with my mind if I choose to do so. Eventually, you intuitively understand this process, and it takes about a second or two to bring your emotions back to baseline. The mind is incredible. If I choose not to stay on top of them, if I continue down the path of wrath or lust, for example, it's just going to take many crystal balls being smashed to bring me back to a base level of emotion. Each crystal ball gets slightly smaller. So it's important to regularly stay on top of things once you develop the skill. It doesn't take long at all, and it gives you more control over your own life. That's why I think it's an important skill. Even just understanding that the sins poison your heart and asking our Father for help managing them is great. But it's always going to be better if you are able to take control of this process as well. You can always do both, and you can ask for help developing this skill. It's up to you. I have a request to ask of humanity. Specifically, if a medical scientist sees this, I have a hypothesis I would request to be tested. My mother has Addison's disease. I have a theory about a solution. I don't have the means to test it myself. I don't have the report. If you could find the time, that would be great. This is my hypothesis. Reverse transcription of eukaryotic lymphocytes occurs on the precipice of memory B cell conversion. Can you please get pig cells and observe this and then reverse engineer a cure for Addison's disease. I would like my mother to be the first recipient. We've reached the end. There's some self-made entrepreneurial types that will cling to the trajectory we are on, just as it destroys so many lives. I say this to you specifically. I have worked hard on this. Do you think I'm going to live for long? So, there will be no complaints that can be justified to the end of just rewards for your achievements. Because it didn't matter if people were lazy, it mattered if you got what you wanted from them. And in that case, you're just arguing to justify filling a void. The confines are set, the rules are set, the stakes are set. Let's hope your mind can take it all. Our reality is granted by them reaching in a certain way, at a certain time. Otherwise, it's everything, everywhere, all at once. They pick the life they want to live, and the result is us. Otherwise, it's our Father's creation. That's why it's completely subjective. There's no fundamental basis to choice when it's based upon just jumping in and having a go because you want to try something different. The basis of your existence is completely subjective to basically everyone except our Father, and that's because He knows everything. So that's to scientists who would complain about the subjective or objective nature of our reality. Your existence is a choice. Our Father maintains everything about the design for them to live. It's hard to distinguish who's real and who isn't from this perspective. That's the problem. Not everyone can be a hero. If you're not destined for greatness, our Father has a destiny planned for you to be happy and content with what you have, and you will be happy. And it's up to the people who are planned for to make that happen instead of squandering the gift for everyone. What came before you chose to exist in the way that you do. If you think you have ability, then put up or shut up. That goes for anyone in power. Put up your talent or admit that you have none and skedaddle. Get the fuck right out of office because the goal is heaven and you're in the way. The goal is a world where simultaneously everyone can live their most meaningful life, and I've explained to you that it's possible. There's no excuse. Fuck off. Stop wasting everyone's time with your stupidity. We're going to have problems with violence as we transition. I sure as shit hope everyone knows who's actually to blame for this mess. It's not me. It's not the working class made to survive. It's everybody else. Everyone who didn't share the burden of privilege and instead turned around and walled themselves off. Humanity is done in 50 years or less on this trajectory. You cunts will eat each other to death. Absolute fools. Will we have to deal with gangs in your absence? It really depends if everyone wants to be their best or if they just want to wallow around in shit. We should be dominating each other in the bedroom, not on the fucking battlefield. It's just a dead end, and I had to wait until AI to tell you that, so you can clearly see that control is evil and it's a dead end. As you make people more incapable of governing themselves, thereby ensuring our destruction. As you can see, anyone can get it, but I'm done giving it out for now. I'm focused on what awaits us out there. Getting there must be a team effort. I didn't come here to be with myself. I came here to be with others. Same as you. So basically, get your shit together. Because I'd rather be tongue-punching alien fart box than bitching and complaining about life on Earth.
Hey, Paulie, I think you need to trim your toenails. They do.
Be so high.
You kill someone with them. No. Just kick him in the forehead.